ライオン神エスカノール様だ。震えるさ。
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, even though at the top up there it says Cynicalex. And today I want to talk about general gear sets for specific characters, because I've had quite a few requests to do videos like this, and I also get these questions pretty regularly on stream and on Discord. You know, hey, I have this character, how should I gear them? I have that character, how should I gear them? Before we start the actual list of characters and the way that I've divided them, I just want to let you guys know that there's an amazing resource for a lot of, if not all of, your questions regarding 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross, and it's sdsgc.gg, and it's up there in the top left-hand corner of the web page. And this is just a page, for example, of Gowther, Red Gowther, that explains pretty much everything about the character, but right here, gear sets, HP defense. So it doesn't necessarily go into as much detail. It doesn't go into as much detail as I'm going to go into in this video, or other YouTubers, other content creators, when they make gear guide videos. They obviously can go into much more detail, and that's what I'm going to try to do here and strive to do for you, and give you more information so you can understand why things are the way that they are and why we make suggestions that we make. But if you're just looking for some quick and dirty tips, this website is amazing. I go on it almost every day. And it is, you know, in part curated and maintained by Sekapoko, who we all know is very, very good and very knowledgeable about Grand Cross. So the way that I see it, there are essentially two main gear sets for all of your characters. And when I say gear set, I'm talking about HP attack defense and HP defense. So this is actually a horrible example here on him, but we have HP, we have attack defense, and we have HP defense. These are the two main sets that you're going to use for the vast majority of your characters. So this would be your HP defense set, and then, or this would be your attack defense set, excuse me, and then this would be your HP defense set. I'm not going to go into specifics about, like, you know, how to construct sets. We're not going to go that basic. If you have questions, or if you want to see a video like that, you can go ahead and check out a guide video that I have for that. But so, first of all, starting off with attack defense, there are a lot of different sets, and I'm going to talk about Pierce sets later in the video, but essentially your first main set, or the set that's going to be the most widely applicable to all characters, is just attack defense with the roles set for attack, defense, and HP. So the first two are going to be attack, the second two are going to be defense, and the third two are going to be HP. This is just your standard run-of-the-mill set, and again, it's very, very good for the vast majority of characters. Not good for every character, not good in every situation, but it's going to fit at least 50% of the characters on your roster. So some really good examples of characters that this works for, this exact set works for. You have, of course, Green Escanor. You've got Green Merlin, who her perfect cube relies on her attack stat, so you need her attack stat to be high, and then she doesn't benefit more from things like resistance or anything else, lifesteal, etc. So defense and HP just works perfectly for Green Merlin. Red Arthur, he doesn't rely on Pierce for his damage, so just scaling his attack is really good, and he's a beefy boy because of his passive, so giving him HP and giving him some defense is fantastic there. These are not necessarily the only sets for these characters, but I think these are very, very good sets for these characters. Red Helbram, attack defense. Red Demon Meliodas, but he does have another attack. He does have another set, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. An easy one to remember is all three of the Lizhawks: blue, green, and red Lizhawk. Now you can run a slightly different set for red Lizhawk. We'll talk about it, but attack defense with attack defense HP rolls is good for all three of the Lizhawks for pretty much everything that they do, whether it's Knighthood boss, whether it is you know, death matches, whether it's farming, stuff like that. Green Bond for farming and other things in PvP. Red Benimaru. I know you got a lot of you guys started with the slime collab, so I wanted to mention him. Green Princess Liz. Now it may not make sense, you know, a healing character that's tanky, or that's, you know, you want to survive for a long time, you should give her HP defense. Well, yeah, but her damage is not bad. It's not bad scaling, 220. It doesn't go any higher. Or actually does go higher. So the scaling on this is not bad at all, 400%. So the attack stat is not wasted there. And then her heal is based on her attack. So actually giving her attack defense makes a lot of sense. And then Blue Galland and Red Griamore. Now I mentioned Red Griamore on this list for attack defense for the reason of his scaling wall ability. Did I pass Red Griamore? Where is my big Red Griamore? His wall skill, like Merlin's perfect cube, scales based on his attack. Now unfortunately, unlike Green Griamore, Red Griamore does not have many, or any. Yeah, he has 0 attack cosmetics, so his base attack stat is actually going to be really low, and it's actually really hard to build him for attack defense. Hopefully the devs will change that in the future. Technically, that means that you're going to get less efficiency out of attack defense, but that's why. HP defense is not bad at all. I think you can argue for the HP defense as well as attack defense, but if he had attack cosmetics like Green Merlin did, then this would make sense, right? Because you want to scale his attack in order to scale his best skill. It's going to, you know, and it's also going to scale this, so the scaling is really good. It's just not going to, actually, it still helps his ult, to be honest. But yeah, HP defense does help Red Grimoire. So those are the characters that I would identify as attack defense characters to benefit from specifically attack rolls, defense rolls, and HP rolls. Then we have the second set, which is primarily for PvP, but it also has some uses in other content, and this would be an HP defense set. So Valenti has one on right now. Never mind, she does not have one on right now. I will switch to one that she has here. So this is just your standard HP defense set. And again, you're rolling for attack here, defense here, and HP. The only difference being instead of getting 20% attack, you're getting 20% HP. So this is still, you know, very straightforward, very standard build. And this will apply to pretty much any character in PvP. The reason why these are good for PvP, not only do you get more HP, which is great because more HP means you take longer to die, but HP has higher scaling for CC than attack or defense. So getting more HP means that you'll have higher CC. Higher CC in PvP means you go first, you can scare people into forfeiting, etc. I mean, I'm not saying you should just build every character to be super turtle in PvP. I'm not saying that. But that is the reason why HP defense is more valuable for PvP and why more characters swap to HP defense sets in PvP. But for general content, you can obviously just defer to, or like farming and PvE content, story mode content, you can obviously just defer to attack defense sets for everyone. But here are a bunch of characters that I believe benefit a lot from HP defense set. Again, primarily for PvP, but also for other content. We start off with Blue King because he's a free character, everyone has him. He heals, so that's a big one, and keeping him alive longer will mean that you're going to get more petrifies. All of King's damage, like 97% of his damage, comes from his ultimate, so yes, that scales with attack, but you know, you want him alive for all of the other reasons, which is why HP defense is so good for King, for Blue King. It's also really good for Red Gother, really good for Green Valenti, as we touched on. Green Valenti has a little bit of a modification to the gear. Instead of being HP defense with defense rolls, it would be HP defense with resistance rolls. So you do have to make that distinction. So here, instead of defense, I would want resistance. And here, instead of defense, I would want mostly resistance, right? But that's specific to the character. Most other characters, like, for example, King, just roll for defense. Because resistance is not going to give you any CC, and you do want the CC as well. Beyond Green Valenti, you have both Red and Green Gilthunder. Sadly, Blue Gilthunder does not have much value in the game besides the cosmetics. Where are you, Blue Gilthunder? Oh, Bluey. But yeah, Red and Green Gilthunder would benefit from HP defense. Obviously, Red even more so because of the tankiness and the taunting. Green Helbram and Green Gustav. Primarily, I recommend HP defense for them for Knighthood Boss. I know Knighthood Boss is about to change, but they will come back and be useful again in the future. And just making them tankier is just going to allow them to buff and freeze for longer before they perish, or hopefully they don't perish, right? And then there's some synergy for their associations for PvP. So HP defense will give you more base stats to pass on, especially the HP. Red Merlin for the same reason as Green Gustav for HP defense. Green Meliodas because of his counter. So unlike Blue, his counter will get better based on his diminished HP. So the ratio of his diminished HP when using a skill. So you want him to have as much HP as possible. So there's a larger gap in diminished HP. So he counters for even more damage. So you can get counters up in the 100, 200, 300,000 damage range. And then Red Arthur. I'm going to re-suggest Red Arthur. Red Arthur's really good. You can play him tanky or you can play him offensively. He's a flexible character. So, you know, if you want to go for a more offensive build, you can. But you can just build him as a beef stick who is just going to, you know, pass out buffs constantly and just stay alive and then eventually sever alt and do some decent damage. And then, so those are the two main sets. I would say, you know, once you have attack defense sets and once you have HP defense sets with those roles, you've pretty much covered like 90% of your roster, dead ass. Like 90% of your roster is covered. So what's left? Now you have more niche builds. I'm going to start with one that is extremely niche first, just because it involves a very good, very popular character, and that's this clown right here, Red Gother. Now, everyone says to get Red Gother. Everyone recommends Red Gother. Yes, we know how good Red Gother is. Now, besides HP defense, there's one other set that you can build for Red Gothar. You could build an attack defense set if you want, but Red Gothar does very little damage. It's the triple defense set, and I've made a dedicated video to that for that, so I'm not going to talk about it too much in depth, but it basically just looks like this, and then you roll attack here, you roll HP here, and then you roll a mixture of defense and resistances here. So it's sort of like Valenti, not quite, but you eventually want to aim for high defenses and close to 100% resist. So this is actually not quite it. I think I swapped his necklace with Valenti's necklace, or maybe the earrings with Valenti's earrings for resistance. But this is specific to Gothar because of the patience mechanic and because of Gothar's passive. It's not for any other character, so that's why I just touch it. Actually, one other character could benefit from a triple defense set, but you don't want resistance rolls. You want defense rolls. You want all defense rolls on the rings, on the, earrings and, what is it, necklace? And that is Green Griamore. Not many people use Green Griamore. The reason why you want triple defense for Green Griamore is because of his unique passive. His attack scales equal to his defense at the start of the battle. So if you have a lot of defense, it's gonna, by proxy, you're gonna bump up your attack stats. So that is one other character that could benefit from triple defense. Now, the last set that you're gonna build besides, well, there's other sets, but the last main set you're gonna build besides attack defense or HP defense or defense is attack crit. And attack crit damage is, she doesn't have it, of course. I don't know where any of my gear is. Attack crit damage is, of course, for characters that have high crit rate and are going to deal a lot of damage. So it's not a very long list of characters. But you, of course, have Green Jericho and Green King. Green Jericho scales her crit rate with her, or crit chance. Crit rate, crit chance, same thing. Marvel Future Fight. She scales her crit chance with skill use. Green King scales his crit rate with ult gauge. So he gains 10% and then an additional 50. So these two characters, these both green characters, benefit greatly from having crit damage on one of their gears, on one of their gear sets, because of the fact that it's going to scale tremendously with their passive to increase their damage exponentially. You also have Blue Slater, who has more crit chance, 300% more crit chance against an enemy that has 0 ult gauge on the bar. So like Red Demon is a good example. And then also Red Demon Melee. So I recommended Red Demon Melee for an attack defense set, but once you have enough gears and once you're tanky enough, you could also give Red Demon Melee an attack crit damage set because of his crit rate buffs when allies die. But, generally speaking, if you're playing like Crimson, you don't want allies to die. You want to kill him before allies die. So you're not really going to see, you shouldn't really see that passive trigger. You could still build him that way. Some people do build him that way just to deal more damage because, of course, attack crit damage does deal more than attack defense. But then you do lose the defense, which can be risky against Crimson specifically. So, yeah, he is just sort of like an asterisk type character. I don't recommend it necessarily, but it is an option. Some people do it. But I think you're probably safer with attack defense set. So those are basically the only attack crit damage characters that you mainly want to focus on. You don't have to build sets for each of them, but you can rotate the same set with all of them. There is also on JP the notion of a triple crit damage set. Like the triple defense set, essentially you just build all 6 pieces for crit damage because it's a two-piece set, so you can get it 3 times. So from the Congeniality, you could get 60% crit damage, and then you would roll your bracers and your ring to attack, and you could still get massive crit damage, percentages like 250, 260, and up. And they've done the math, and that's very good. The problem with recommending a triple crit damage set is that it's extremely, extremely hard to get the orb, the rune. I know I have 2, but you can only pull them from the PvP chests, so they're super rare. And then these ones you can only get from either the gear chests or purchasing them for, I believe it's like 500 or more PvP tokens each, the PvP coins. And the PvP coins are for, gear, cosmetic gear, and anvils. So, it's not really a good idea to spend them to make a full crit damage set until you've done all of that other stuff first, which is months down the line. That's months in your future as a player of Grand Cross. You're not going to want to do that from the beginning because you're going to set yourself back a lot. Not buying those UR weapons from PvP shop, not buying those anvils from the PvP shop. The very last set, which is actually much more popular now and will continue to be popular with an upcoming banner for Blue Lilia most likely, is the attack defense set that is Pierce. So there's the attack defense set where you roll attack on the bracers and ring. defense and then HP. And then there's an alternative variant where you roll Pierce on the bracers and ring. Now, you don't necessarily roll full Pierce. Some people do. Some people roll half Pierce, half attack. It really depends on what you want. There is no like perfect answer. More Pierce is generally better, but there is a dropping off or a diminishing returns point, and it always, you know, lowers the damage of the ultimate attack for, you know, Blue Demon Melee, Lilia, and Hauser, because their ultimate attacks are not Pierce related. But of course, the Pierce is going to help tremendously for those Pierce attacks. So Blue Demon Melee has the Hellblaze, Hauser has his his Rising Storm, and then Blue Lilia will have her passive, which will increase everyone's Pierce by half of her Pierce. So that is why you have been told recently to build up attack, defense, Pierce sets. And those are the 3 main characters that they benefit. There may be others in the future that I don't know of that use Pierce damage. I'm not sure. People can let me know in the comments down below. But hopefully, I've done a good enough job of encapsulating gear sets, the 3 or 4-ish main gear sets that you want for, again, we're aiming for like 95+% of your box, including all current characters on Global and Blue Lilia to come. So let me know what you guys think of the video and the sort of general gear guide help. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.